saw earlier on when we saw the Lee Sin come through, things like that. It's super exciting because it leads to a very explosive, snowbally game if things really get rolling.
Gragas is also going to get taken off the ban, taken out of the hands of Candy Floss there, not too unexpected. Speaking of the unexpected, not unexpected, sorry, the Cho'Gath is now off the board.
Yeah, so I had a chat to Rifty last week and he was saying he despises the current meta in the top lane because it's all about these tanks, and he despises Cho'Gath because at level 1 he pops his E and does about 25% of your health in one auto, and it is filthy to play against. So again, coming up against someone like Kerberos who loves that Righteous Glory Triforce build, get it off the table, don't deal with it, don't get tilted in the top lane.
I did see him one-shot Soraka on that one, so it was pretty disgusting. Another target ban coming out, the KO, and we've also had the Xayah ban come through from Team Singularity.
That's more of a comfort pick against Zandia, I think. They're aware, again, that the weaknesses lie in this AD carry role, so trying to target ban him away so he can't get that comfort pick is a pretty surefire bet for them. In the Jarvan coming away, it's more of the same. It's trying to get rid of these tank junglers. It's trying to get rid of that potential in the top lane to have a kind of off-tank build that you often see is often the Titanic Hydra go for the great split push, and you can usually dunk into the back line. And in fact, this patch he did receive a slight nerf, but not enough really to knock him out of contention.
Well, first pick for the side of MnM is going to be that Kalista, that power pick ADC who has so much lane dominance taken away. So what is Team Singularity going to be able to pick up at this point?
Well, letting that Kalista through is super, super risky. She's pretty much 100% pick ban rate in all pro play, and often it's more towards the ban that she goes, purely because the team fight capability she brings in terms of being able to throw some CC in the mix. You throw an Alistar or a Braum in there, it's even more CC. Even a Rakan, for example, it then gives him essentially double the distance to get a knock-up onto, enabling him to get into the back line, focus onto an AD carry, and she's so mobile herself that it's such a safe, sensible pick to go for that I think they'd have been insane not to take it for the first pick, so completely don't blame them for that one.
So what can Singularity look to pick up? Obviously, they've now locked in this Tristana, so they're going for that kind of late-game hyper carry. What are they going to look to pair that with, or are they going to look to maybe get the counter pick later? Not going to be the case because the Alistar's going to get locked in, so definitely looking for high engage and high kind of burst they can put out there.
Yeah, for them it was more about trying to deny the combo that comes through the Kalista, just stop that being a level 6 death lane in the bot lane, the bot side of the map. I think it's really nice having the Alistar there as well, because that gives them the tank presence that they need in at least one role. They now have some flexibility in the jungle. If Cesar wants to go towards a carry, he's played Rek'Sai quite a bit in the past, so maybe we see him going towards that. And maybe Kerberos thinks, you know what, I'm going towards something else in the top lane here that's more carry focused. I can try and beat out Rifty, because again, these guys are probably staring each other down and thinking, who's going to cave first? Who is going to pick the first carry that gives the other one a counter pick?
Well, Singularity do technically get counter pick on that last pick, so I expect it actually to be the top lane where they do go for that. We've seen the Corki get locked in from MnM, so that's going to be their mid laner. Something we didn't really hit on too much, but we hit on at the beginning of the day.
Yeah, that's
Corki is super powerful, but also very, very safe.
Super powerful, super safe. Energy has played it quite a few times this split so far, and it just works well with having the double marksman. Despite him being mostly magic damage, it's still the same role as old AD carry Corki. It can still pump out damage like no one's business. So I think it's a really nice, sensible comp. Isn't giving too much away in terms of what they want to do with the jungle or the top lane here. So Singularity have the choice now. They can choose to start banning away some tanks if they want to, just try and deny the really effective front lane that MnM want to go for. However, the mobility that they've got themselves in the Kalista and in the Corki, that in itself is a huge strength that I feel they won't be too fussed about if they can't get the most optimal picks to go with it.
They do have to worry about this Zac and this Alistar standing on the front line. Well, Zac probably more for the flank. But getting on top of those key targets will be quite hard with Shifter playing that Alistar. Gonna have the Jace ban taken away from Rifty.
No surprises there.
Cassiopeia is also going to get removed, so 2 more bans left. See what they're going to be going for the lock-in here, but I expect to see Kerberos get the counter pick.
We've seen Energy play Cassiopeia quite a few times as well, but it's just trying to shut down that late game carry potential. Cassiopeia has received a small buff this patch. She does have a slight nerf at level 1 with her E, and I think it's the level 2 as well, is slightly weaker. But in the late game now, her E AP ratio has gone from 0.5 to 0.6. She doesn't build boots, so it's another AP item stacked on top. So later on, she's doing an extra 100 damage per Twin Fang that she shoots out, plus the buff that you get on top of it when someone's poisoned. It just makes sense to get away with it, I think, and try and get it away from the enemy team.
Let's see what the first pick for in the second pick phase will be for Team Singularity. Had the Kassadin and the Gnar ban come through, which I didn't get to talk about too much, but pretty standard bans here. They're just target banning Paris at this point, and actually gonna lock in that Vladimir there, so that's his mid laner answer to the Corki.
Yeah, that's an interesting one, I think, purely on the basis that it's quite old. The match we used to see quite a lot about 4 or 5 patches ago was Vladimir into Cassiopeia. It was very much so staple, and then Corki kind of came along and upset the apple cart in that regard, became himself a very, very strong mid laner. Vladimir, though, it's so brilliant for the team fight, and I really like the comp they've got so far because in this case, Paris is kind of going to function as a tank himself in these fights, and obviously has his own get-out-of-jail-free card if he needs it in the port form of the Sanguine pool. Then you've got the Tristana at the back to deal with. You've got an Alistair there, you've got a Zac there. How on earth are you going to be able to get into this backline, especially with the damage boost that will come through from Paris?
Okay.
Nice, okay.
There we go, denying that from Kerberos. So we've had a couple of picks here for MnM, got themselves that Maokai. And I'm really excited to see actually how Paris is going to play on this Vladimir here, purely because of the fact that it's a little bit different from what we're used to seeing him play. But Kerberos not going to be able to play that Kane and is looking to lock in potentially the Camille. It would do pretty well into the Maokai.
Yeah, like I said, it was a case of who K's first. And the nice thing about these two picks is they can flex. You can send the Maokai or the Kane anywhere you want. They can go jungle, they can go top lane, they can mix things around if they really, really want to. But it looks like Kerberos has called his bluff and says, you know what, let's get that Camille in there. Let's get me a carry on the go. And this is going to be exciting, I think. He's against the tank, so it's going to be Candy Floss playing on that Kane in the jungle. And I like him on this Camille. We haven't seen him on it for quite a while now, but in this case, clearly thinking, I can get this isolation down. That she's no way getting away from me. This Kalista is staying put and she is going to die. Simple as. Their dive is fantastic for Team Singularity. I really like the comp they've come out with. But again, Candy Floss is the big misnomer for me here. Playing this Kane. Haven't seen him on it very often. I'm interested to see what impact he can have. Is it as great as his Evelyn in the early game, or is it something more that he goes to the late game and functions as a second tank in the team?
Well, it's less cheesy than the Evelyn in the early game. Just having a look at the summoner spells we got running here. Both supports running that Ignite, so definitely looking for the kill pressure in lane. Energy has that teleport, so he's going to be able to get around the map. And the teams are locked in. MnM, defending champions, taking on New Blood Singularity as we take forth to Game 1 at Series 2 here at the ESL Premiership. Let us know in the Twitch chat. Let us know in the crowd who you think will win. Will it be MnM Gaming or will it be Singularity?
I'm praying for Singularity purely because it's a new team and everyone loves a bit of an upset, although for this to go to 3 games would be perfect because the two teams, as we've said, it's the old champions versus the new blood. Who's going to rise up and who is going to take it away? And given the comps that we've got, both have got pretty good setups, I think, for it. It depends entirely as well which way Candy Floss chooses to go with the Kane. I imagine he goes towards Rast here because they need that second tank. And equally, you're against a very, very tanky opposition team. You can't have one tank somehow manage to hold off 3 enemy tanks. And it goes again, if you include Matty on the Vlad, that's going to be another tank for you to deal with as well. There's so much opportunity, I think, for Singularity to just enable Matty to go off here. And again, Zandia, one of the weaker links on the team, they haven't really put too much focus around him here, I think. They've got that Corki as the fallback damage if they really need it when it comes around to the team fights.
He's managed to get his hand on that Kalista, so he's definitely got himself probably the strongest ADC he can get his hands on, so it's all down to him to perform at this point.
And we've seen as well, a couple of times I've just remembered actually, Kerberos has managed to backdoor with this Camille several times in the past. They'll stick him in a split push role for a while. He will be very, very effective in these fights, I feel, if needed, because there isn't too much to be able to get him away from the Kalista once he drops the ultimate down. But it's going to be one of those cases where he waits for a couple of items before he starts trying to make an impact. I really feel that the onus is going to be on Rifty here to maybe get some assistance from Candy Floss just to try and stop Kerberos from scaling up. Otherwise, they're going to find themselves losing towers, giving gold over to the AD carry, just funneling more and more power into Matty to really start running away with this game.
Kerberos is the king of split push, so let's see whether or not he can do it. He's not going to have anything really to contest him because Rifty is playing that tank. And here we are onto Summoner's Rift for Series 2, Game 1, MnM versus Singularity.
G-Tours. Twitch chat loves it. But yeah, like I say, we are in and we're straight into a pause. Everybody's favourite start to a game.
What a start indeed.
Now, we can look towards already and see the first item that got picked up by Kerberos in that top lane. He's gone for the Doran's Blade. He's going for that aggression. He doesn't want to sit back and say, right, I want to play safe, I want to sustain and get items. I want that Doran's Blade. I want to take some fights early on and try and shut Rifty out of this game. What's really interesting for me is that this is the best of 3 as well. If this game doesn't go so well for Rifty, he's going to turn around and go, guys, I need to play a carry top lane. I cannot deal with Kerberos when you give me something like a Maokai. Let me play a carry. So let's stick our tanks in the jungle, in the support role. Let me focus on trying to win this top lane out. And we mentioned it before at the very, very start, actually, when we first got handed over to by the analysis desk. We said the top lane is the one to watch for us. Whoever kind of pulls ahead up there is going to be the one that can scale that lead into the mid game and really start getting their carries elsewhere ahead.
And if you keep in mind, the ESL Premiership has obviously played as a best of 1 throughout the regular season. So this is now best of 3. So this allows both the teams to kind of fill the water out, play a little bit comfortably, play a little bit more safe than they want to. And just kind of really feel each other out and figure out how this is going to go for them and see whether or not they can maybe play something a little bit cheesier in the next games. Because, you know, if you lose this game, it does put you down on match point. But it does also, you do kind of get that wiggle room. You get a bit of kind of time to kind of feel out your opponent and figure out what they're going to be doing.
I'm really keen to see how the jungle changes up in future picks as well, because if the Camille has a huge impact in this game, they'll probably want to ban it away in the next one. You've already banned away Gragas, Jarvan, Sejuani, all these kind of big picks that we've seen so much in 7-17 and now being banned away in 7-18. So you leave things open like the Zac, which really has kind of slipped down the rankings for a while. We've seen things like Elise, like Lee Sin in there. But these two picks, you're seeing a Kane for a start. That's not something that we see very, very often. Even in pro-level play, like in the LCS, for example, we've seen it once or twice get picked up because it's
one of those times mid lane.
Yeah, and it's one of those more surprising picks that people aren't 100% sure how to deal with. And Zac has been out of kind of contention for so long that maybe he also has a bit of a surprise left up his sleeve here to deliver into this game.
He's still very strong as well, considering everything. Yes, he's not that kind of S-tier jungler that was perma-banned.
He's a kidnapper, as I like to call him.
Yeah.
Because he just dives in,
I mean, yeah, you're not wrong.
Runs away with someone again. It's wonderful. Delivers them back into his own team, and I love to see how the combo stacks up as well with the Camille, because she can ult onto someone, Zac can get in the zone, and pretty much has a free ult, because you can't flash away from that. You can't flash out of the zone. You're stuck in it until either Camille leaves or until one of you die.
Okay, we just had to swap out a quick keyboard there, so it looks like we're all going to be ready to go pretty shortly. Thank you for sticking with us here, guys, at EGX. I know it's been long, I know it's been hard, but we will get to see the defending champions MnM play one of their hardest matches this year against Singularity. They could prove me completely wrong at this point and actually just completely smash them. But I expect this to be one of the hardest matches MnM have had to play.
It kind of sounds weird when you say it would be a surprise seeing MnM crush their opposition, because it's what we're used to seeing in all these previous years. And I think one thing we probably glossed over a little bit in the pre-game was that this is the closest couple of semi-finals I think we've ever had. I think the closest we ever saw to two teams really competing was a few years ago when it was the Renegades Banditos facing off against MnM. But since then, it's been pretty much a one-team story. It's been MnM going all the way through, and now they find themselves not finishing first and finding themselves against a relatively unknown team who are here to prove themselves. Singularity have arrived in other games previously, such as Overwatch, and just stomped their way through competition. Can they do the same in League of Legends is the big question. In the regular split, you'd say no, but again, they've only had 2 games where they played with Paris. Now he's back here. He's at full strength. They've won a LAN last week. This is their time to prove that they belong in the UK scene and they belong at the top.
Well, let's see whether or not they belong, or if they belong at the bottom or the top. So everyone's starting pretty defensive here. No one wants to go for any cheeky invades. You've not really got anything to gain when you don't have like high CC without taking silly abilities early.
Yeah,
everyone's just get that line of scrimmage down.
The best you could go for here is maybe MnM with the Thresh and the Maokai. If they've really wanted to go for it, they've got a lot of damage with the double AD carry, got a lot of mobility and Candy Floss. But it just feels like a bit of a risk. But hey, they're the ones trying to make the aggressive moves here. They're the ones who can step themselves forward a bit. But Singularity, they want nothing to do with this. They want to get themselves to the point where the Tristana is online, where Vladimir is online and causing absolute havoc, where they've got the 2 big tanks, and the Camille is absolutely destructive in that split push role.
Candy Floss is actually, he did hop over the wall, and he's going to get himself a steal on these Raptor camps here. Off Cesar. Cesar's starting up on that blue buff and did have to solo that.
This is the problem Cesar will have for a while, is that he can't really trade early on with Candy Floss. The damage that he brings through is just far more than he can do. Without any kind of tankiness to him, there's no point in trying to face off against him. So he will find himself getting stolen away. Starting on the blue, but probably not the most ideal thing in the world for Zac. Wants that red to try and make the early ganks happen. But it's just it's Candy Floss being signature Candy Floss, making that early aggressive plays, making yourself known to the enemy jungler and leaving a footprint wherever you go.
Candy Floss successfully steals away 2 camps, and that means he can now run back to his own jungle, nice and safe. Seems like Cesar doesn't seem to have too much of an idea about that. Candy Floss was spotted on a ward though, so they'll now know that he did steal that back.
No, exactly. But at least some good damage. I was going to say, there's maybe some damage here that comes down, because if Paris takes a bit of chunking early on, Vladimir's healing isn't the best in the early game. It will take a bit of a while, but Energy, again, incredibly safe on this Corki. If he goes Hex Drinker first item here, he's safe pretty much from Cesar, from Paris. Doesn't have to worry about anything. He can just get himself through to the point where he's got his first couple of items and can really start making an impact.
Now, Cesar is a jungler. For anyone who maybe recognises that name, he used to play on SKT and Vitus Pro.
SKT?
SK, sorry. Remove one of those letters.
He played
SK Gaming, imagine.
Why is he in the UK scene? That'd be the big question.
Oh, it looks like he's found Candy Floss in the jungle. Cesar's actually taking a fair amount of damage because there is that red buff burning away. He's actually gone back in, and Paris has got the backup with the damage. Here comes Energy. The flash forward comes down. Candy Floss running quite low. Paris looking for first blood, but not going to find it. Now Energy is strapped in the wrong spot. Smite comes down. That's going to be the elastic swing shot, slamming them together. And Energy's going to get himself that camp there. 3 members did roam up into that to try and stop that fight. And Cesar running quite low.
had that passive to fall back to if he needed to, which is why he could afford to go back in for the re-engage onto Candyfloss, who's now burnt that flash, which means at least for these early aggressive ganks, which is what you often see from these carry junglers, is that it's not going to be as impactful as it could be. It's all about taking summoners, burning your own summoner, and getting that early kill to start getting your lanes rolling. He won't be able to do that now, and it kind of feels strange that early on Candyfloss was so aggressive into the enemy jungle. As soon as Cesar goes aggressive, actually it's kind of his fight to win.
Completely his fight to win. Let's look at what spells were actually burnt there. Energy had to TP back into lanes, so lost a fair amount of health, while Paris used Flashed and Ghosts there. They also did get Candyfloss's Flash as well, so that's at least one tool down. Kerberos losing a bit of health here against Rifty, or Rift now, same as changed the name.
We still call him Rifty. He's the Rifty everyone knows and loves still. It's absolutely fine.
Same guy.
Yeah, I mean, Rifty's spent a lot of mana here just to try and trade out with Kerberos to force him away, give himself a bit more breathing space when trying to farm. It's going to be a very, very scrappy top lane for the most part. We've already said both of them like to be these carries, and even though you're on a Maokai here and you are the tank, you want to be able to win these trades out. You want to be able to force Kerberos away.
And you can see Candyfloss already engaging once again into the jungle, taking those Raptors as soon as they are up. Constantly trying to deny CS from Cesar here. And if you look at the CS lead, I know in the jungle it's quite like, it's not the same because camps obviously offer more minions than others. But Candyfloss definitely denying really, really hard here.
And I'm looking towards the bot lane as well, and already seeing that early advantage starting to come for Zandia. And we mentioned earlier on, that was the weaker lane for them. He is the weaker link in the team, at least in my opinion. Everyone may disagree with me and go, what on earth are you talking about, Des? But there you go. That's purely because I feel more than anything else, they've got the range support, they've got the threat coming through from Adam, and you've got the Kalista who's great at shoving lane. So it's a gift and a curse, I feel, for the most part. It's more a case where they've got a very, very comfortable bot lane here, which offsets that weakness. And when you're against someone like Shifter, who here is on a ranged melee support, a melee support instead, sorry, with the CC. He's going to find himself in a bit of a tougher spot where he will get quite a lot of harass. And speaking of harass, here comes Candyfloss.
That's going to be a good hook shot, but it is going to get interrupted as Kerberos running quite low. Red buff's ticking away. He is going to flash out, and Kerberos survives from the gank from Candyfloss there. Super, super close, but lots of action breaking down in the bot lane here. As Zandia is ignited, is running low. Matty looking for the damage, forced to flash away as he's going to pull out the Rend, and first blood comes through. Shifter now on the run. Adam landing a couple more auto attacks. Minions are going to stand in front, so no hook available quite yet.
That was ridiculously close because Maddie got away with literally a sliver of health, but the spears were more than enough to make sure that he went down there. This is perfect for MnM because, again, this is not the lane we expected to win. We expected to look towards something like the mid lane, maybe the jungle with Candyfloss to make an impact, but no, the bot lane is doing this all by itself, and Zandia finds himself with first blood, 15 CS up. This is literally heaven for them right now.
Let's have a little look across the board and everything else. The ADCs are where this is all completely separated from MnM and Singularity. 40 minions to 27, and now a kill onto Zandia on that Kalista, making Matty's life very, very hard.
Find himself with those early boots as well, increases your jump range. He's got the cull on side as well, so he's really going for this scale up now. He knows he's in a comfy spot and he knows he's ahead of Matty. My biggest concern here, though, is that he's now got himself a pickaxe, so he's still going to be doing a noticeable amount of damage. One that probably can't be ignored by Zandia and Adam, and all it takes is one gank coming through from the Zac, and they find themselves in very deep trouble.
Well, looks like the junglers have spotted each other out, are aware of each other's positions, and Paris looking to make it hard for Candyfloss. But he does have that shadow step, so it's very hard to chase a cave as he can walk through walls.
The one thing I've noticed so far from Candyfloss is he's only been on the top side of the map once, and this kind of plays into the mean that we always talk about of, you know, junglers are all about this bot mid lane meta at the minute, that no one cares about top lane. It is quite literally an island. Bit of a jump.
That was really long stretching strikes as well.
Hey, you maxed it in, you got some pretty good range on it. But yeah, with Candyfloss, we've seen him down bot side quite a lot so far, and every single time it's been more to spot Cesar out than to try and make a big impact himself. Speaking of an impact though.
Looks like they're coming in. The Lantern brings it up, but the free man Pulverize will knock them up. Shifter running quite low, but the hook comes out. What a pick! Candyfloss finds the kill, taking a couple of tower shots and has that satchel charge on his head. He is going to get out alive, but that's another kill coming from now. But Paris does have that Hemoplague available, has popped Ghost, is available to flash if he wants to. Hemoplague doesn't connect onto the right target, and Zandia just rips him apart.
Paris? Didn't even bother using the Sanguine pool there as well. Did not appreciate, well, not even respect, I should say, how many stacks and Ren stacks were in him from Zandia there. This is incredible for MnM. 2-0 and 1. You've got the call stacking up. You've got yourself a kill and an assist. Wonderland is literally how I describe it right now, because Energy finds himself in a great spot where he can shove this wave up. There is no TP on Paris, And it's all falling apart for Singularity. They're already finding themselves 2,000 gold down, and we're only 8 minutes into the game.
Not looking too good early. Kerberos, maybe he's the one who needs to carry his team. So we are going to get a replay here.
You just watch as there comes through onto Shifter here as well. This flash, you can understand why he went for it, but it's all, he flashed after he saw the hook come out as well, so he knew it was coming. Still, obviously, did not manage to predict it. Now, watch how many stats get put into Paris here. You can see as the few start raining in. There's one. There's two coming through as well. And before you know it, he's got the straight passive coming off as well. And it all stacks up perfectly for them.
If his ability's costing health as well, he was almost making that easier for Zandia at that point.
The worst part now as well is Energy has got the package. So if he really wants to add insult to injury, he can get himself down to this bot lane and make another impact and get Zandia really scaling away. This is why you ban Kalista away. The mobility that she's got, the damage she can bring on the passive of the W, the Ren stacks. And especially at the level 6, now they've hit it, they've got their ultimates available. I'd be terrified right now if I was Maddie and Shifter, because Shifter, he has no flash, he isn't level 6, he is a prime target for another kill.
Well, as we hit the 9-minute mark, it's 12,000 gold that separates both the teams. 3 kills to MnM, Singularity with absolutely nothing. Having a hard start to the game. And what do they need to do to kind of pull this back? I know it's not a massive lead, but it is a lead, and it's scary for how early on in the game.
It is, and I think the really nice thing that MnM are doing here is isolating Kerberos. He can't really make an impact in these games because of, well, in the game, sorry, because of the mobility that's on everyone else on the map. Zandia and Energy can both get away pretty easily. Candyfloss, as we saw, he runs into a wall, he gets the heal, does not care about the ultimate coming out of the Vladimir and completely ignores it. So for them, just keeping him quiet in the top lane is their dream scenario right now. Everyone else is 0-1 except for Cesar in the jungle. And for Singularity's side, they're probably thinking, well, okay, we've had a pretty bad start to this game thus far. We're 2,000 gold down, it's 10 minutes in. It's not the end of the world for us. We know that our comp still scales ridiculously well. So for them, it's about damage control. It's about trying to offset these small advantages that are coming through and just not giving more away, because the more they give, and the harder they make it for themselves to get back into this when the mid-game rolls around.
Kerberos managed to pick himself up that Scuttle Crab, so he's given himself a little bit of forward vision to play with. He's definitely aware that he's on an island at this point, and he just wants to make sure he gets into that point where he's very comfortable to split push. He's trading against Rifty, gets himself the hook shot, but he is running very, very low. Ultimate's going to come out from Rift, and it's actually going to pin him in place. Running quite low as the Hextech Ultimatum comes down, gets himself that sweeping strike, hook shot, flash. Can Kerberos get out? One more tick, and Rift gets the kill.
And this is why things like Fiora and Camille are so risky to take. You're playing into a Bramble Vest. Every time, you rely so much on auto attacks. Every single time you do it, you take damage. You get reduced healing off any healing that you have in your kit. And this is so uncharacteristic of Kerberos to go for a trade onto a tank and lose.
Paris does need to be a little bit careful as Candyfloss is hanging about. Energy's there as well. He's going to peel them back for now and looks to clear one more wave before he can get that back off.
But it's like we said literally 60 seconds ago. They need to not just stem the bleeding now, not give more advantages over. And going for silly trades like that when you're not really in a position to win them, you're in the minion line for a start. And taking all that damage again from the Bramble Vest and from how tanky the Maokai is, huge risk, and it did not pay off. And they find themselves in this situation now again where they're still just over 2,000 gold down. MnM are the ones fully in control, and Candyfloss here, he can go wherever he wants. Cesar is no longer a threat to him at this point.
All right, we are back, finally. All of these problems sorted out, and we're going to go straight into a little bit of action. Shifter is getting engaged upon. Here's Cesar to back up the side of the MnM backline, and Cesar for a bit of a weird ultimate there.
It's more of an escape than trying to kidnap someone away, but I agree it was a little bit strange. But yeah, again, guys, sorry about all the issues we are experiencing. Unfortunately, internet is one of those things we do not have control over. But one thing we do have control over, or at least the players do, is the outcome of this game. And Kerberos so far, not doing much to have much of a control on the impact of this game.
I think that was the longest hook shot I've ever seen. He went flying there. Yeah. Paris having a bit of a hard time as well against Energy on that Corki. Candyfloss is going to get spotted out by a ward pretty soon, but also is going to get caught out by Cesar. There's a lantern to pull him out, so he's fine for now. Singularity struggling to find a pick, and Candyfloss constantly invading into Cesar's jungle, just making his life really, really hard.
Knows exactly what he can get away with, especially when there's no threat of a TP from the top lane, because as soon as he does, it's an easy play for Rifter. You just flash onto wherever Kerberos is, get him rooted down, and that's it for that TP. Look at him, he doesn't care.
He's playing 1v2, he does need to be a little bit careful. Could actually get stunned up here as Paris is coming through, thrown out that ultimate, the Umbral Trespass down, Ignite is thrown out, has a lantern, and have ourselves another pause, unfortunately. Hello everybody, welcome back. Unfortunately, we are all fortunately, we're all sorted out as we see Rifty taking on Paris here. MnM versus Singularity, game 1 of Series 2, the ESL Premiership. And MnM are 6 kills up. We have hopefully ironed out all our packet loss issues. So we're a little bit further along. No, okay. We're a little bit further along from where we left off.
Yeah,
last time on our
those of you who may have grown significantly older during the time we were waiting, essentially the game so far has been all MnM's way. Singularity have looked a little bit solo QS so far, not really playing as the cohesive team that won a LAN last week. I think it was over in Denmark, potentially. Either way, they're not looking too hot right now. You can see the scores for yourself, exactly what's going on. However, 20 minutes in, Kerberos has just completed himself that Trinity Force, so he will be a bit more of a considerable split push threat, shall we say. And
the real threats on the side of MnM.
No, my friend. The real threat is packet loss.
Outside of that, when you're looking in the perfect scenario, is Candy Floss on this Kane. And also the Callista here.
So he's gone for Ras, which is good. We were saying in Champ Select that they only really had the one tank if they had only the Malachis to be expected Candy Floss to go towards the Rast, which he has now done. So he's got all that CC, he's got that tank in, he's got that huge heal if he goes for an ult onto Paris or Caesar or Shifter. So happy days for him. And the Callista, spoke about this earlier on, the weakest link for MnM, pretty much undisputably, is Zandir at the minute on the AD carry. He's a mid lane main, but he's finding himself so far 40 CS up, 45 CS up if you want to count all the CS he's managed to just kill. And he's got himself 2 kills with 2 items, and he's in a very, very good spot.
Oh, Caesar's actually going to go for a kidnap here. Flay's going to come out, followed up by the flash as Caesar gets himself over the wall. Hook goes a little bit wide. Energy may be looking for an opening, but there is a tower. Yes, and a Vladimir he needs to cut through, so it's going to be very, very hard. So it looks like for now, the deal will be siege in. Take this tier 2 in the top lane. Rift Herald has been unleashed by MnM, and that is going to be the end of that tower. Nice and easy. The gold lead gets now to an 8k difference.
7,500.
7.5.
Going to be precise. But it's
quick maths.
Quick maths. Not this again. Anyway, you know what else is quick? Them turning around to try and take this Baron out right now. MnM, they know, I think, that they're in a spot where they're against a very, very good late game comp here. The Tristana, the Vladimir, the huge tank that is going to be the Zac and the Alistair, as well as the split push from the Camille. They want to close this game out before we start getting towards that 35-minute mark, where the team comp will start coming online. Oh, Candy Floss getting himself caught out, ulted as well.
Ultimatum has hold him in. The box has been thrown down, and Energy looking for it as the Humble Trespass is thrown out. Paris forced the blood pool away, and now there's going to be Matty jumping his way out. Shifter is just ripped apart. Here comes Rift throwing out the ultimate, looking for the engage, looking for the snare. Does manage to find it as Caesar's coming through. The hook comes out. Energy gets the kill. MnM take over the scoreboard, and they're looking to siege into the mid lane tier 2.
And it looked like for a second Candy Floss was the one who was caught out there and would surely be facing his demise, but no. They turn it around, pick up themselves up 3 kills and keep on extending this lead even further. Now at 10,000, they can now look towards the Baron once more. We should say considerably less risk than before, but Caesar is still alive for him. We've already seen the range in this game on that Zac, what he can do when given the opportunity. Let's see if he can pull off a Miracle Steal, though.
Let's see if he can pull off that Miracle Steal or not. Baron's now just sitting down at just over half health. Hanging over the wall, Matty's at his back as well, clearing out these wards. His slingshot's coming down, it's going to get interrupted! The range comes down, Hook follows it up! That's going to be the end of Zac as he's bombed into blobs. Shifter, you do not want to be going anywhere near that team. 10-1. This is MnM's game to lose.
It absolutely is there. Brilliant use of the package coming out of Energy as well. I did not expect... That was really weird then because it kind of stopped and I was like, packet? What am I saying right now? We keep on speaking about it. We keep on appeasing the packet loss gods. It'll be absolutely fine. But no, brilliant use of the package there just to make sure that there was no way of Caesar getting over that wall. Brilliant interrupt. And again, it's just MnM looking even more secure than they were before. And look at the items coming through now for Energy and for Zandir. Both going for the Executioner's calling. They want to deal with this Vladimir and make sure he has no way of sustaining in these fights.
They want to deal with this 0-3 Vladimir. Kerberos having a hard time just going anywhere. Maybe he was a little bit deep there. Was aware that he had hook shot, so he could get himself out of town, out of dodge, but Energy, Triforce finished, Hex Drinker there, he's looking towards that Triforce, like you said, he's got the Executioner's cooling. His damage is nothing shy of scary at this point.
It's also worth looking at well as where the only kill currently sits in Singularity is on Caesar. on your tank, the person who probably needs it the least right now. It's not on your split pusher who's gone for a Trinity Force. It's not on your Vladimir in the mid lane who you need to get to the late game. And it's most certainly not on your AD carry who you really need to come online as soon as possible if you're going to have any hope of staying relevant in this game. But to be honest with you, the Singularity, they're like a leaky ship that they just have not managed to plug the holes. In fact, if nothing else, they've made even more holes for themselves because they're doing nothing to stem the flow. The bleeding that's coming out here is pretty insane. MnM are literally taking whatever they want, whenever they want. The Singularity are just standing there and going, well, I guess we're a good bag of gold for them right now. Take it, guys, sure.
They're probably not even worth all that much gold at this time. They've all died a fair few times.
Yep.
And it's just not looking too good for them. So Singularity, surely at this point, they're looking towards game 2 in the series and how they can look to pounce this back. Paris does dodge out the hook. This is going to be a Flay denying the knock-up. There's the Hemoplague, and Zambia running quite low. Going to pull them away, and Adam is dropped on the back end as Candyfloss taking tower shots. Here comes the tree, throwing out the ultimate, pinning them in place. The cow has been knocked up. Can they get anything? As Rift going to fall down to the turret, and this is now all about Matty. He is running so low. He's going to go down to energy, but it's all Singularity as they turn the fight, get the kills. Candyfloss, the only one left. Hookshot follows it up. Kerberos does have the ability to go forward. He flashes over. He throws out the ultimate. Candyfloss pinned in. Going to throw out the Humble Trespass. Here comes the blob. Can't get it, but they're still just stunning him up, lock him up, knock down. Candyfloss is just obnoxious. And he's kiting away for days. One more hook shot from Kerberos comes out. Candyfloss with a Q with the damage is trying to stay alive, but it doesn't look like he can do it. Kerberos fights it with the last Q, gets the kill, and Dragon is on the board.
This is super weird because I was about to say before all this kicked off, I remember when we were casting Challenge Series, a team was 18,000 gold behind. And I was saying repeatedly, this comp when it gets to 35 minutes is going to come online and they will win off the back of that. I'm not saying this is the start of their revival, but this is a big way to getting them a little bit closer, especially with an Infernal Drake on side. And for Singularity, they've got to feel like they're giving a lifeline here. And you said it early on, you said it yourself, this is MnM's game to lose. And plays like that, where the grouping is 3 when you're this far ahead, you need to stay as a team, you need to stay as a unit. Maybe have one person split push in. But when there's only 3 of you pushing into one lane with no idea where Cesar is, you are asking for a huge engage like that.
Paris was 0-3, he's now 2-3 at this point. We do get to have a look at that turnaround.
It was, and they look so deep into the backline here, and it's amazing really that the carries managed to live for so long. Look at Maddie as well, he's taking literally no damage on all this. He's here quite happily like, oh hey Rifty, how's it going? You've got no mana, I'm gonna have a great time here. And maybe it was a bit over-aggressive trying to get into energy, not respecting that he was 5-0-2 at the time with all these items that he's built up so far. He's now finished off the Shiv, but either way, it's looking good for them. They've got something to fight with. They're still 9,000 gold down, so let's not take it away from MnM. They are still firmly in control. They still have the capability to close this game out if they play it correctly. Singularity have got to be feeling at least a little bit optimistic about being able to bring back this game 1.
If they continue to get the picks onto the Callista, they can turn this around. It's not all done yet. And MnM definitely overextending, getting punished there hard by Singularity. Managed to pick himself up an Infernal Drake and a bunch of kills, so these stats are starting to work out a little bit better for Singularity as we do move towards the late game. It's 30 minutes on the clock, and once again, Candyfloss just gets picked up by Kerberos, but he's also going to throw out the ultimate as Adam pinned in place, and he is just ripped apart as Paris manages to find the kill. Energy and Zafarana are on the run. The knocker comes through, the hookshot follows it up. Matty looking for the damage, does manage to find it, goes untouched, gets the kill, and what is going wrong? MnM.
Yeah, finish your sentence.
I'm lost for words.
Mate, like, what did we literally just say? We just said grouping as 3 was their downfall last time around. They were trying to be a bit smart and have like a 1-3-1 on the go. Someone was back at base. It looked a bit crazy. They've done exactly the same thing again. They don't really have a true tank. They've got Candyfloss. He's not really a tank. He's got a Black Cleaver on side here, and he hasn't got any of the tank items built up yet. They need Rifty to be the front line. Last time round, they were punished because he had no mana and was too deep. There was no one to protect their carries. This time round, Rifty was in the bot lane split pushing. Why? Kerberos can TP to bot lane tower at any time and completely clear out that wave and manage to counter push it. As we've seen now, they're now back at 11-9 in kills. Literally 2 minutes ago, they were 10-1. This is a ridiculous throwaway of the game by MnM. If they lose this game now, they will surely be kicking themselves. Down to a 7,000 gold lead. It's not looking pretty.
But even with this turnaround, let's say MnM win or lose at this point, their minds must be going, what have we done? And it's going to throw them as they look towards game 2. Singularity definitely kind of flipped the switch there and said, we need to fix our mentality. We need to just make sure we can get ourselves a favorable team fight because we know our comp is actually pretty good at team fighting.
I feel quite sorry for MnM here, because when you're in a spot where, you know, tech issues do get in the way, and these things do happen, right? It's not like there's ever really going to be a perfect tournament where there are no issues at all. These things do happen. But it's so difficult when you're quite far ahead, when you're in control, when you've got the flow of the game going in your favor, and then something like this happens. It can really kind of throw you off your game. But either way, I don't think that's an excuse to have two really poor engages where you go for a fight with no mana, where you send your only tank to go and split push. Like, those aren't issues, I think, that you get from being on tilt. Those are just very, very basic errors that they're making here. And I think, yes, an hour's delay is a bit painful to deal with, but it's no excuse for making silly little things like that.
Well, Kerberos doing what Kerberos does
now
best, and he is split pushing at this point. This could be detrimental for his team. Towers at half health make that dead as it falls apart. A good play comes down. That's going to be the knock-up onto 2, and it looks like MnM are starting to run low on health bars, but they're looking to turn the fight. Rift on the front line as Candyfloss has already thrown out the Humble Trespass. There goes in free, delivering the move towards Matty, and there's going to be 1 kill for Singularity straight off the back. Rifty running low. Is he going to get popped? No, he's still alive. MnM, they managed to turn it. Kerberos looking for the outplay, looking for the hero play, but he is just getting obliterated and flayed up. The kill comes down to Energy, and with that, MnM take the team fight, take the win, and take the inhibitor, and probably look towards taking the base.
That was just Kerberos making the same mistake we saw Rifty make. Why are you split pushing at a time like this? You know your team's behind you, you know you can't win a fight 5v4. Why on earth are you down in the bot side of the map? A tower will not win you this game right now, but one thing it most definitely will do is lose you the game, as we do see the final 3 members of MnM push in and claim themselves, I feel quite rightly, this first game in this best-of-3 series.
With 30 minutes on the clock, and MnM pulled the cat out of the bag right at the end. Almost looked a little bit scary for them, but Singularity will go down. MnM will take the first game in this series here at the ESL Premiership.
Imagine the more